Welcome back. I'm Dr. Moby the Explorer, and I will have a conversation with a girlfriend named Alisha. I'll let her introduce herself, but let me just say a couple of things about her. She and I met years ago in church.
Yeah.
We met in church, and then we traveled to Ghana together. She entrusted me with her Ghana experience, and she's another person who explores the world. And I thought she would be perfect to share her experience on Colombia. Colombia. I've never had the opportunity to travel there, so this is her conversation and her experience. So those of you all who are planning after this pandemic is over to go to Colombia, then you may want to listen to this video. Alisha, is there anything I left out about you?
Let's see. Not really. I love to travel, as you mentioned. With that, I became a travel agent, so I can get great deals on my travel. Right. I'd rather be out the country than at home. So any chance I get to find travel, I'm out of here.
Yeah, and she does. She travels everywhere. She's another explorer. So tell me, where did you go in Colombia?
So in Colombia, I went to Bogota. That was the first destination, and then went to Cartagena. Both beautiful. Bogota, they have very dry air. Their altitude is really high, so you have to be cautious when you go. And if you need to get medication before you go to Bogota, I definitely recommend it. When I was on my trip, few people got sick because of the high altitude.
Really?
Yes. But I did my research beforehand. And so with that, I went to my doctor and I got high altitude medication.
Okay, and it worked?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yep, and I only had to take it when I was in Bogota. Extremely beautiful. I would describe it as like an old town. Compared to Cartagena, it's an old town. I remember the what do you call her? Our tour guide. She said, if it's sunny in Bogota, it's gonna rain. If it's cloudy in Bogota, it's gonna rain. Meaning it rains every day in Bogota.
So what time of the year did you go? What time of the year?
Yeah, so I went at the beginning of 2019. So I left beginning of February of 2019. I can't recall my dates right now, but it was like the first week in 19, that I went to Colombia. But she said, regardless, that's just how the weather is there. It's going to really, really beautiful. Beautiful.
So the first place you went, it was like you're saying like an old town. Was that an older town?
It's the older city compared to say Cartagena.
Okay.
It's an older town.
Okay.
The architect is older, everything.
Oh, really?
But it's beautiful.
So I was reading some stats about Colombia and doing research on it. It's a place that I would love to visit at some point in my travels. But it's interesting dynamics because some of the stats say that as it pertains to ethnicity, that there are 49% of the Mazitos, and those are the European Spanish mixed with the indigenous people, the Native Americans. And then it's 37% white with 10.4% black. And then the Amerindians are like 4.4%. But it was interesting to read that about 80% really identify as white. They identify as white. So did you observe any race dynamics when you were in Colombia?
I did not. Not after you broke down those stats. I did not see that. The only thing when I was in Cartagena that we talked about, I went on a tour. The only kind of dynamic they have there is like social status.
Okay.
And they level them, and if I'm not mistaken, he said they level them 1 through 5. So 5 being on the top of the status chain, they live in the beautiful, houses, the high-rise apartments, they have the good jobs, down to number 1, and those are the individuals that have the street carts, or they fish, those individuals. So as far as the race go, I didn't see that, but it was the status level that they talked about.
And it did. So did you observe that those who were having the street, were the street vendors, were they Afro-Colombians, or were they were Afro-Colombians?
They were Afro-Colombians. A lot of them from a small village, and I'm probably going to butcher this name, Palanque. It is a small village right outside of Cartagena, where a lot of the Afro-Colombians settled after, the slave trade, and they were freed. A lot of them settled there where they kept the tradition, of Africa, the language, the dance, the wedding, everything. They still have it there. So that's where a lot of them stay, and then they travel to the inner city to vend their merchandise, etc.
So as a Black woman, did you feel celebrated or tolerated, or did you feel anything, how did you feel as a Black woman in Colombia?
So good. They acknowledge you as a Black woman. They didn't look down at you as a Black woman. I felt comfortable there. I felt safe there. Was able to walk the streets, go into different restaurants by myself. I had some individuals with me that I met on the trip, because I did this as a solo trip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was a solo trip. Okay. I didn't have anybody with me that I knew. I met individuals on the tour. We connected. So sometimes I hung out with them. Sometimes I was by myself. But I was extremely comfortable. Wasn't harassed for money, because you go to a lot of countries, they harass you for the money. None of that. I didn't experience that.
You know what? Which is interesting that you were by yourself, because so many times we've heard Colombia is a really dangerous place. Mm-hmm. And so that has stopped a lot of people from traveling there. But listening to your experience, you are a solo traveler and you went places by yourself.
I did. I walked out of the hotel, walked down to get some ice cream, go get something to eat. I felt extremely comfortable.
Did you get an opportunity to mingle or interact with the Afro-Cubans? Colombians? I'm sorry, the Afro-Colombians?
So in Cartagena, I did a lot. So I did a tour to the small village, and we were able to visit a lot of the houses there, speak with a lot of people in the village. We also where we stayed right off of the water, extremely hang out and mingle with the individuals there. So yeah, we did. It was good.
It was good. So if you had to compare the cities, I haven't been before. Which one should I stay longer? Which one would you say, if I wanted to experience especially from an African perspective, if I was going to study the Afro-Colombians, out of those 2 cities you went, which one should I go?
Cartagena.
Okay.
Hands down.
Okay.
Hands down, Cartagena.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's because that's where the majority of them are? That's
where the majority of them are. And then also Cartagena is right on the water. So when the slaves were dropped off, they were going to get dropped off right on the coast. Right. And Cartagena is right on the coast. Now, when you talk about Bogota is more the inner. It's more inland than Cartagena. Yeah. And so when you compare both of the cities, you will see a lot of people with my complexion in Cartagena than you would have in Bogota. Okay. They were more the lighter complexion in Bogota.
Okay. Yeah. Talk about the food real quick.
Ooh, the food was amazing. Amazing.
Really?
They eat a lot of fish. Oh yeah, they eat a lot of fish. But it was really, really good. The food, they have this dessert. And it's like a coconut. It's coconut and some other ingredients. It is absolutely delicious.
Okay.
And when we went to the small village, we were actually making some. The lady, the house that we went to, she was making some outside, and she let us do it as well. I don't recommend you eating it right out the pan because it's hot. I burnt my tongue trying to eat it, but it was so good. But you gotta like coconut.
Okay.
Coconut rice, the fish. Oh my gosh, it was really, really good.
So was it more like what kind, was it rice and beans? Was the staple rice? Was it so?
It was like rice and beans, coconut rice, a lot of fried fish.
Okay.
That's mainly what we ate.
Okay.
We ate there.
Okay. So if you had to advise people like myself who haven't been, what kind of advice would you give us? Or would you say we should go, or what kind of advice would you give us?
I highly recommend going. Don't be afraid about the things that you hear about Colombia. Like when I was on my tour with Alex, and I have on one of his shirts here.
Oh, wow. Black Women Travel.
Black Women Travel. He actually talked about the violence, in Colombia and the cartel and things of that nature. That was more like in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It still exists, but it's not as big as people think it is. Go with an open mind. Realize that, they live a little bit different than we do in the States.
Okay.
Take enough money with you to convert over, because if you want to travel to a different area in Colombia, you want to make sure that you have enough, money with you. Honestly, just go with the open mind. Okay. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful there.
Because you said they live a little different. I want to know, what did you mean by that? They live a little different.
So as far as, okay, let me go. So like when you go to places, like in Mexico, you go to these really nice resorts, right? They have those there as well, but you're not going to have a lot of the quality, right? Or what you will expect from a nice resort in Mexico or Dominican Republic, right?
Okay.
They're on the streets, just like when we went to Africa. You have a lot of people on the street that are street vending. They'll talk to you as well, but they're not gonna come up to you and ask you for, money. They'll have a conversation with you, etc. It's kind of to me, it's a little bit of a slower life, but compared to what I'm used to here in the States.
Okay.
So it's just different. It's different.
Okay. All right. So you're a travel agent. If people want to book a trip through you, or do you have a website you can leave, or what's your website?
Yep. So actually, I respond faster on Facebook.
Okay.
So it is Beach Bum Travels. You can find me on Facebook. I can, discuss with you any location that you're interested in. I can do the research for you, etc. Some places I've already been to, I can, talk to you from a personal aspect of it. Right. I love to travel. I love to find people the best deals. I'm not somebody that's going to take your money and not, give you what you need,
Okay, great. So I'll put your information below, and they can actually get in touch with you. However, listen, all we wanted to do is share her Colombia experience. I wanted to learn about the experience to determine if that's a place that I'm going to do, especially from a Black solo traveler woman. Is it safe? So she's answered those questions. All I want to do in everything that we do on this channel is learn from you. Hopefully you can learn from me. So together we can grow and glow. Be blessed.